Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack, and it's Sunday, and it's time for, the Sunday chat. This afternoon, we had Donald Rex join us on my channel, me and Rasa having a chat. So if you want to see that, look at the last video that's posted there. Next weekend, Rasa may or may not be here, but I'm still going to forge ahead with the Sunday chat and hopefully to have a couple of guests with me. We'll see how it goes before I put anybody on the spot by saying their names in this video. But hopefully we'll have a couple people to join us, which would be great. We'll just dive right into it. Before we start looking at the comics that I read this week, the books that I read this week, I just wanted to give a shout out to Daryl D TV. So Daryl D has been, I've been watching his videos for a little bit now. He's kind of come back into collecting comics. He's specifically going for Richard Corbin. And he's also getting into underground comics as well too. So he's been buying up a lot of underground comics from a shop near where he lives. And I had when Corbin had his own company and was redoing the Den, there was one issue that he was missing. I had a duplicate of that, so I offered to send it to him, and he was kind enough to say, hey, if there's anything you need, let me know. So he had a double of this one, this Dark Horse Presents. This is number 16 from I don't know when, but it has a Corbin story in it. I haven't, not that I've ever really looked for this book, but I don't recall ever seeing this around. So this is volume 2, number 173 from 2012. What do we have in here? We got some Sam Keith in here, David Chelsea, Tony Atkins, Carla Speed McNeil, and then Richard Corbin doing Edgar Allan Poe's Bernice is in here. So that was the Corbin piece. So I'm glad to, like Daryl, I'm glad to add to my Corbin. Here we go. Here it is here. I'm happy to add to my Corbin books. Not that I've been hardcore looking to complete the Corbin collection, but it's he's an artist that I'm always on the lookout for. I'd really like to get the other stuff that he did with Marvel there, that Banner. I'd love to read that. And I'd love to read that Punisher one-shot as well, too. Oh, but this is some pretty good-looking Corbin. Maybe not the best Corbin I've seen, but pretty nice nonetheless. So thank you very much to Daryl for sending that out my way. I know it's not cheap sending books from the States. It's actually kind of fucking mental, to be honest, what it cost for him to send this one book. So I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy going across the border with stuff. You've really got to, not that he didn't do this stuff, but you've really got to like pack as small as possible and try to, I don't know, man, get some sort of deal happening. Anyway, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, I picked up a few books the other day. Nothing super major. We'll just kind of quickly fly through it. King of the Night, Robert E. Howard. Most of these were 25-cent books. Thriller issue number 1. So that's great. Now I can start reading this. I've got a nice chunk of them in a row, probably like 6 or 8 of them in a row. So I'm looking forward to finally checking that out. This was from a local Comic Addicts guy. This is Splatter number 3. I've got 1 and 2. This is from North Star. Mark Nelson, David and Dan Day, Dave Cooper is in here as well too. So that'll be fun to flip through that one. Something called Messiah. We'll take a quick peek through this. So it's from Pinnacle Comics. There's the back cover there. Let's see if this is from the Golden Age. 1986, look at that. Golden Age Unlocked. So yes, I mean, based on that cover, how could you go wrong? It was worth a shot, especially for the 25 cents that I paid for it. So why the hell not? We'll see. We'll see how it is. The cover intrigued me. Another issue of Revolver from Renegade that I don't have. This has been a kind of tough little series to finish. I've got 3 of them now, I think. But this one has the usual suspects in it. There's Steve Ditko in here to start us off with the Star Guider. So these are pretty fun when you can find them. Silver Wolf, rather. This is Night Masters, and it's different from the Night Masters that I've shown before. I had a Night Masters that was it was a little wider. This one is, I don't believe it's the same creators. Looks like it's maybe ninja oriented, whereas the other one was more robots and that sort of thing. So this one looks intriguing. I was taken by the cover. I don't see Silver Wolf too often. So when they do show up, they usually catch my attention. Decided to try out this Human Target against my better judgment, but again, for so cheap. I saw Rick Burchett's name on there, so I thought that would be a good reason. So coming soon to ABC TV definitely does not give me confidence. But again, considering how cheap it was, why the heck not? The second volume of Mr. X is proving very, very difficult to find. Found another 2 issues of it. I think I only have like 1 or 2 issues. Otherwise, I've got the entire first volume and have read that a couple of years ago at this point. So happy to find some of these. The interiors of these don't look as good as the first run. I mean, it's tough to follow up. Seth, where's the credits here? William P. Marks presents. Where do we have some credits? Come on, people. Here we go. So Disraeli on pencils. Ken, not sure how to pronounce the last name. So let's just hold them up here. There's the credits right there for you. So yeah, doesn't look as top tier as the first one, but still got an interesting look to it. It's not it doesn't look horrible by any stretch. So curious. I'm hoping I can eventually find the rest of these. This is not Vertigo. What am I talking about? Vortex Comics. So you'd think that I'd be able to find these by the boatload up here, but it just isn't the case. Number 11 and number 13, if I didn't say so. Not sure what the story is about this one. This was sealed in like a poly bag, so I didn't get a chance to flip through it, but based on that cover, I figured why not. It turns out inside it reprints some newspaper strips like Mother Goose and Grimm, Bizarro, which I don't quite understand, but there you have it. Bill Mouse, Dan Ferraro, obviously, Bud Grace. So a couple of names that I don't know. When is this from again? This is 1993, and this is issue number 3. I think there was only 3 issues of this, so I'm not sure what the story is on this. A little bit of Klaus Kinski look to that guy's face there. I see there's 3 people watching. Hopefully I'm not experiencing the same problems with comments that I was before. If so, I apologize. I'm not seeing any. Mother Goose and Grimm. So I'm not quite sure. I think if I would have known what was inside this, I probably would have passed on it. But having something like this polybagged, I don't really get it. But there you have it. So again, 25 cents. What the hell? This one cost me a couple of bucks, but I thought I'd give it a chance. Dead World, this is 14, so way into the run. Not the easiest to find. I don't find these very often. And honestly, sometimes when I do like the earlier issues, they're a little too pricey. So I don't know the full story with this, if it's something that was low print run. I don't think so. I feel like this was a pretty popular series for Caliber. So yeah. Not sure the story in that. So looks good though. I like the interiors. I like that cover. I've got them all bagged up, but there was 3 of the 6 issues of Sergio Aragone's Louder Than Words. And this is all silent stuff by Sergio. So that'll be pretty fun. And then 2 issues of The Shadow in the Coils of Leviathan by Kaluta. There's 4 issues total in this miniseries. So I got the 1 and 2 as I was digging through the bins. There was other Shadow stuff, but unfortunately not the other 2 issues from this one. Each of these has a little poster in the interior as well. Donald Rux, there you are. Hello. So the comments are working. Thank you, Donald. So yeah, some little posters in there as well too, which is kind of cool. So that's that. We'll go over what I read this week. One thing I realized I didn't talk about in our chat this afternoon, I had it in a separate pile. This Munden's Bar, this annual, I guess, 48-page annual from 1988. Gave that a read. Not too bad. There was a couple of good little strips in it. Obviously hit and miss, as is the case. We get some Fish Police to start out with, which was kind of fun to read. I was reading some Fish Police back in the day. I've still got a couple of issues. It's one of those books I'd like to kind of read all of it, to be honest. Just that nostalgic feel for Fish Police. What else did we have here? Steve Rude, a Steve Rude drawn story. What was this one again? Guy busting out of jail. Oh yes, this guy that busted out of jail and had this little electronic unit that when he opens it up, these little creatures come out and they're a band. And he's going to make his fortune from it. And there's this other lizard creature sitting at the bar, and he gobbles the little bastards up, thinking that they were a snack. So shit hits the fan there. And we find out at the end, after he almost gets killed and the guy is talked off the ledge, that he actually just had him in his mouth and he spits him back out, saying, "We're going to make a fortune." So a little bit of Bugs Bunny vibes on that one. Joe Staton, Hilary Barta on this next one, The Last Vampire. This was a pretty good little story. Vampire coming into the bar, and the bartender cuts his arm to give him some blood, gives him a shot of blood. Not a bad little story as he kind of talks about who he is and where he's come from. And then John Ostrander writing, Jerry Ordway artist, Doppelgangster. This was, I think, my favorite out of the book. This mirror is offering, it's not your reflection. You see yourself in a parallel dimension. So you see your doppelganger. And this guy witnesses himself being killed in this other universe. So he travels to that other universe. And how you get to the other universe is you find a door. Any door that opens from the incorrect side. And that allows you to get through to your doppelganger's universe, which is kind of a neat idea. Everything is backwards in that universe. So he goes to find his killer. A really nice little story, actually. I didn't mind this one at all. So yeah, this was fun. Munden's Bar. Not a bad read. I think there was a second annual as well. So if I see that, I'll give that a shot too. And then the rest of these, it'll be stuff that I've talked about already. It'll probably be a shorter video tonight. Doctor Strange, False Sunrise. I'll just kind of flip through. We flipped through it during the chat, but dude, like, this guy just raises the bar every issue. So I got all 3 of the covers. So there's the Tradmore cover. Let's see if I can get the name. Chris Anka, I believe, is the artist's name on this cover. AFPC, how are you? So that's that one. And then the final cover, I think my favorite, other than the Tradmore, I think this one actually outdoes the Tradmore for me. Paulina Ganucho. this cover here. And I was saying in the chat today, like, you can't, I don't know if it comes out on camera, but there's a slight kind of off register to some of those colored shapes there. So they kind of fuzz out a little bit. But this is a stunning book. And like I said, it feels like every single issue, he's really upping his game, even in this book, where his art is already incredible. The next issue is the last issue. So what are we? We're January, so February, end of February. So whatever that kind of second to last Wednesday is in February, I think, or maybe even the last Wednesday in February, is when this comes out. And then later in the year, there's going to be the Treasury edition size of this. So I'll absolutely be getting that. With the last issue, the alternate covers don't look that thrilling. So I don't think I'll be getting all 3 covers. But I mean, I'm a sucker for this. It's gorgeous. I want to support it. I want Tradmore to get a lot more. Yeah. This is it. Just a 4-issue miniseries, and hopefully it does well for him. I hope that they give him more. That Silver Surfer Black was incredible, but I think this one is better. Not only because I truly do think that, I also think so because I'm a huge fan of Doctor Strange, but I think he was made for a book like this. Him and his wife doing the coloring. I feel like I gush about this every week. There is a story here. This is a really nice panel. I love this, as they're kind of blasting up out of this this kind of world that they're trapped in, with this big god-like demon chasing after them. Really nice touch there. So the story is dense. I couldn't really sit here and give you a Cole's Notes version of it by any stretch. When the Treasury comes out, I will sit and read it again all at once, and hopefully it'll be easier to digest. But it is just stunning to look at. It's the first book that I read when I get home on that Wednesday. I haven't actually traveled. I haven't gone to Galaxy on a Wednesday right at noon when they open for I don't know how long. When this book comes out, I am there. I'm I'm in the shop shortly after they've opened to get myself this book. That's how excited I am about this, and also how much I just don't want to miss out on it. There's always multiple copies there, though, so I don't know how popular it is anywhere, let alone how popular it is here. But it's just it's a stunner. It's an absolute stunner, and I literally just make noises out loud as I sit and flip through this thing. I go page to page. Yeah, he's writing as well too. It's dense, and honestly, I don't get much out of it. I feel like he's dealing with a lot of ideas. Doctor Strange is in kind of our reality, helping give birth to this goddess's baby. But in order to do that, he also has to be in this other reality where he's coming across some of these other children of the same goddess, that are all, each god and goddess are kind of not in charge isn't quite the word that I'm looking for, but we'll go with it. In charge of a different aspect of humanity, and potentially one of them has to sacrifice themselves for this new baby to be born. This baby being born could very well kill Doctor Strange. If this baby isn't born and he doesn't help, our world could get destroyed. So it's dealing with all sorts of stuff. And again, that's a very, very, very loose understanding of what the hell I'm reading, because when you sit down, there's parts where it really makes sense as you're reading it. But I find as soon as I'm done, I've kind of lost the thread. But again, it's not what I'm here for. I'm here for this art, and it's fucking outstanding. It's absolutely gorgeous. I feel like maybe he's getting a little too heady and psychedelic for his own good with the writing, but I don't fault him. Keep it coming, and like I said, I hope it's successful enough that Marvel keeps giving him work, because I would love to see him. I mean, I'd love to see him do another Doctor Strange miniseries, but honestly, I'd love to see him do anything. Yeah, it's extremely convoluted. It's 100% convoluted, and I think that's kind of one of those marks of some writers, that they feel like if I make it really convoluted and really intricate, that's going to equate to good story and good writing. But it's just not the case. So we'll see how it goes. I found this issue easier to read than the first two. So we'll see how the fourth one ends off. But who cares? Because it's beautiful. And there you go. I mean, I've shown you the whole book now. So that's that entire issue. So very excited about this one. And then there's the cover for the final issue there. He's just really, I don't know, man. The guy has grown by leaps and bounds, it feels like, when it comes to his comic work. Especially what I've been doing lately, just trying to pick up as much of his stuff and going chronologically, seeing how much he's grown is very, very impressive. So if he's producing stuff like this, and he's got this really good relationship with his wife, and she seems to have a really amazing handle on those colors, I'm very excited to see what they come up with next. We talked about these, and I've talked about Thorgal a million times, but this is book 19 and 20. I believe there's only 25 that have been released by Cinebook up to now. Well, I mean, they only have 25 listed on the back cover. So I'm almost fully caught up. I've got number 22 on the shelf, so I'll probably try to, sooner than later, I'll probably just order the last volumes that I have. This is back to a fantastic little two-parter here, where Thorgal and his family are taken as slaves, and kind of what happens there and what comes out of there. Great stuff. Thorgal is my book. I love it. Enough said. I've talked about it a million times. If you're not reading it, I'd strongly encourage you to give it a shot. And like I've said in the past, you can pretty much start anywhere, I feel, to get a good sense of the book. So don't worry too much about starting at number 1. Human Target, issue number 11, right? Yeah, book 11. So I think the next issue is the final one. So I don't want to talk about this one too much, because there's a lot of stuff now that we're getting to the end. I don't want to take a chance of having any spoilers for anybody. So I don't even know if I'll show you the interiors of it. Yeah, I can show you maybe the first couple of pages. I just want to be careful since we're so close to being done. If anybody hasn't read it, I don't want to turn them off by spilling any unnecessary beans at this point. Let's see, what else can I show you here. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Smallwood's art. Maybe looking at it, maybe I won't show you anything else. Needless to say, I'm really liking this book. I think it's been a really fantastic series. I'm curious to see the way that this ends, and I'm hoping that he can tie it up really nicely. So because it's close to being done, the 12-issue run, I imagine that means there's going to be a collection sooner or later. So if you haven't been picking up the single issues and you want to give it a chance, maybe just wait a couple of months and pick up a collected edition from the library, or if you want to buy it if you're somewhat of a fan of Tom King. But it's great. Daryl D, there he is. Thanks very much. Hello, Daryl. I was talking at the beginning, giving you a shout out for sending me this book. It did arrive in the mail last week. I meant to message you, and then I just slipped my mind. So it came. It's in great shape. I love it. Thank you very much. Do the rewind to hear me give you props. Let me pick up stuff that's fallen down everywhere here. Let's do these ones. Yeah, I hear that, AFPC. I totally hear that. Dropped off Human Target a while back. Love Smallwood, but just lost interest. I can absolutely see that. I'm still really digging it. I'm glad that I stuck with it. So I'm picking up the Sandman Universe Dead Boy Detectives. This is issue number 2. And again, I don't really know what to say about it. I feel like we're still kind of setting up this universe with these Thai ghosts, and they're just trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do. The guy who was taking care of the ghosts was their kind of human counterpart, was killed by a demon. So they're kind of trying to figure out what the hell to do next. And we get kind of a story going there. I want to say that because it ties into what I'm going to talk about next. Where did I see that? Left only one option. Sorry, give me 1 second here. This teaches me for not. Sorry, everybody. Charles is that guy's name. I thought in this one they mentioned Thessaly. Dead. Yeah, no, I guess not. I thought there was somewhere that had a reference to Thessaly, which is what we're going to talk about next. But I'm digging this book so far. I don't really know where it's going to go. It so far hasn't kind of captured, especially after reading these next 2 Vertigo miniseries. There's something that the Sandman stuff that I've read kind of has this. It captures this kind of magic of the worlds and the way things are written and the characters and the stories themselves. This one isn't quite catching it yet. I'm still liking it, but there's just something that's not quite there yet. So I'm willing to give it a chance still. Again, because I have next to no books on my pull list, I don't mind giving something like this a shot to stick with it a couple of more issues, but we'll see. So reading this reminded me, and I was sure that somewhere in there was a mention of Thessaly from the Sandman universe. So I remembered that I had a couple of 4-issue miniseries in my Vertigo drawer here. So I found those, fished them out, and read them this week as well too. So kind of read them back to back in the space of an afternoon, actually. So 2002 is the first 4-issue series, and then 2004 is the next one, and they do kind of continue from each other. So the little bit that I understand about Thessaly is she's an extremely powerful witch, and was at one point in a relationship with Dream. I believe, somebody correct me if I'm way off base on that, but these were really fun little stories, especially with this ghost Fetch that is that's kind of been sent in this first volume by a group of demons sent to capture Thessaly so they could kill her, because she's the kind of one person that's left that could actually kill them, as they're waiting for Lucifer. I think there was something going on in the underworld where Lucifer was going to battle, and kind of you had to pick sides. They wanted Thessaly out of the way so they could kind of take over. So they send Fetch to kind of get her and lure her back to them. So the story is just kind of their relationship. There's a lot of fun stuff that happens in here too. Here's Thessaly herself, looking like she's been drawn by Sam Keith. Like every time I see it, there's something about that color combination, those big round glasses. Like that's a Sam Keith drawing if I've ever seen one. The artist on this one is Sean McManus, and written by Bill Willingham. So as they go on this journey together, her and Fetch, they go through a lot of kind of the stereotypes of a story, of a quest story. In one of the issues, they meet a Sphinx who tells a riddle. She, of course, knows what the answer is, and the answer is humans. Because what is it? What has 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening? She said, anytime you go on a quest, that is always the riddle that you ask, and you think it's the first time that you've asked it. So there's a lot of kind of playfulness of that sort of nature when we talk about these fantasy and kind of quest stories that are pretty fun. They're pretty fun little touches. And that's, again, like that magic that I was talking about with some of these stories. There's something that's captured here that I think just works really well to make it a really pleasurable read. The art is, I think I like the art. It was serviceable. It's not the best art I've seen in my life, but I really liked it. And also, I mean, even this era of Vertigo, this early 2000s, isn't Vertigo that I'm very, very familiar with. There we go. Here's our first gatekeeper telling the riddle in the subway. This era of Vertigo I'm not as familiar with, so it's always nice to dip my toes into this and see what was going on in the 2000s with a Vertigo. And then the second volume was, again, Thessaly and Fetch, and they've not seen each other for a couple of years, and they get reacquainted because Fetch has been going out and presenting them as a demon-busting duo, so taking on people's demons and sending them Thessaly's away so she can kill them. Pardon me. But he's made a deal with somebody who has this demon that supposedly can't be killed. So now they're sort of trying their best to figure out what the hell they're going to do because this creature, this demon, is going to just kill everybody. So fun stuff. Really fun. I like those a lot. Those are the kind of books that if you see them in the dirt cheap bin and you're a fan of the Sandman universe stuff, or you're a fan of Vertigo and Bill Willingham, I'd say give it a shot because those were damn good. But I wouldn't be paying no $4 a pop for them or anything. So I'll also say that. Let's see. Put these away before I move on here. Not too much left to talk about. We'll go to this. So recently I rebought some Baker Street. So I've got 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. And I read issues number 1 and 2 back to back. I had issue 1 before and a couple of other random issues. And it just didn't kind of capture me. I don't remember if at that time I was, I mean, I knew who Guy Davis was, but I don't know if I was into him as much and wanting to kind of explore more of his work. I found the text, like the dialogue that he was trying to, sorry, not Guy Davis. Let's get the proper credits here. Creator and co-scripter Gary Reed. So Guy Davis was the creator / illustrator with the help of Gary Reed. So they were trying to get this British accent down on paper, and I found it, some of the characters, I found it incredibly difficult to read. It became a chore to kind of read their speech bubbles, so it really turned me off of going any further. This time I kind of powered through it and was thankful to find that, you know, even going into the next issue, those particular characters who had that heavy accent don't actually appear very much, so that did make it a bit easier. And by the time I got to the end of the second issue, I was really enjoying it. It's these kind of different groups of punks in old London town, and you know, the sort of turf war that's going on. So you really end up getting a lay of the land for who these different gangs are, their leaders, and then kind of this idea that there's one leader specifically that is sort of the figurehead for all of the gangs. Yeah, I really dug it, actually. I found his art. It's not quite yet at his Guy Davis level, but there's absolutely touches of what he eventually brings to his work in here. Did I say a year on this one? Probably not. Let's see. This is 1989 is this first issue. So I'm really on the lookout for number 3 so I can pick that up. They end up going to this hangout, and it's in this theater. We just watched Clockwork Orange yesterday, and I was reminded of this scene from because in Clockwork Orange, there's the same thing when the Droogs go to fight that other gang. They're taking advantage of a young lady in a big theater setting. So a similar kind of thing here. And I love what he's done with, I think, the zipatones here and not really cut them tight to the figures, but giving them this sort of shaded halo around them. So very good, actually. I hope I can find issue 3 really easily. I may have to take a trip to Red River Bookshop to see if they have any of these in the bins, because I might have actually I might have traded my copies away. I don't think I had issue 3 though, but it might be worth a dig. Comic Book Aesthete, how are you? I had that Baker Street comic back in the day. I read Clockwork Orange, but have yet to see the flick. Oh, okay, cool. Absolutely see the movie. The book is fantastic. I read it when I was younger. The movie is different from the book, especially the ending. Apparently, Burgess, in one of the documentaries we were watching last night, Burgess wasn't a fan of the movie's ending. He thought that his was much better when it came to, because his whole thing was humans having the ability to make choices, where he felt that the strong point of Alex was he made the decision to kind of change his ways, and the movie Alex is really just a pawn of this government program and politics, which is amazing to me. I looked at Clockwork Orange a little bit differently this watch through than I have in the past, and that political element really was bubbled up to the surface quite a bit more for me. The other thing that Davis does in this too is some of these flashbacks have a nice different look to them, this kind of washed out look, which is a really nice thing. So yeah, I'm digging this. I'm very curious. I think there was only 10 issues, so I only need a few more, and I'll be there. But I feel like now I'm in the world. I'm a little immersed in the world. I kind of feel like I know the characters a little bit, especially after the second issue. You get to find out some more nuggets about, I'd say right now there's kind of 3 real main characters. You're really starting to find out more about them. So I'd kind of like to sit this week, if I can find that next one, and read another chunk while I'm still in that mindset, while I'm still in this world. There were collections of this that came out too, some early trade paperbacks. I don't know if I'll ever see any of those around, but yeah, this is pretty great. I'm enjoying it a lot more this time than I did that first time through. There's no doubt about that. And there's issue number 4's cover, probably my favorite of the covers that I have here. Number 5. And then number 6. So yeah, some Guy Davis. And then finally tonight, probably one of the most enjoyable reads, and so far the highlight from the 25-cent bins. So I got some of these self-sealing bags that are pretty handy, actually. It's from Brave New Words, and it's called Misspent Youths, and it's this is issue number 3. I think there was only 4 issues of this. I believe this was 1991, correct? David Lee Ingersoll is the creator's name, written and illustrated. There's his name up there. And I kind of really loved this one. I feel like I was dropped into this world, so I was a little bit lost as to what came before, what was exactly going on, what these relationships were. But it didn't kind of stop this from sort of being a standalone story anyway. We still get a chance. It's a nice blend when these books can do these nice blends of, there's history with the characters that flows through the mini series or the long running series, but then you get these still nice touches pardon me, especially with these indie ones where they want to deal more with these kind of satanic rituals, if you will, or these kind of magical elements. We have sort of a Betty and Veronica stand-in. Betsy, and again, I didn't look at her name there. Let's see if we can find it this time. LaMonica is her name, LaMonica, and LaMonica is dating Artie, and they're out on a date with two different guys because she wants to make Artie jealous. And then we get some of our sideline characters. These two guys they have a bag full of drugs and kind of deciding what they're going to take tonight. What are they in the mood for before they go out and hit some clubs? So there's some kind of nice comic relief. So while they're out at this opera, Betsy gets kidnapped in the bathroom by these cultists. She's going to be their sacrifice for the coming of she's going to carry their god, basically. They've they've convened with the arcade, and the arcade games have told them that now is the time. So they go and collect themselves a virgin, and everybody else kind of just starts chasing after them, including some people that they've met in the bathroom, in the bar. They make their way down to the sewers and kind of have to go from there to try to find her. Super fun, incredible Matt Howarth look to all of this stuff. His voice is strong in here. When I looked up Ingersoll, I couldn't find a ton of books to his credit, but there was a few things. There was a few anthologies that he was a part of, and on both of them, though, it looked like these characters appeared in them. So I don't know if it's if it's just short stories in those anthologies from this universe, or if they just happen to be using those characters for those books. So this was just really great. There's a nice Rick McCullum and Matt Howarth kind of vibe to this. The Rick McCullum, I think, comes through in characters like this bearded guy down here. And even on the cover, there's something about the density and the layout of this page that kind of reminds me of McCullum. So great stuff. I don't know how successful I'm going to be in finding the rest of these issues, but this Brave New Words logo is something that really has my attention now. I've got some Uber Dub as well. We've spoken about it before from Brave New Words. I don't remember the one that you were mentioning this afternoon, AFPC. Prius or something, or Pius, I think is what you were saying. So I'm keeping my eyes out for more from this company, because that was a damn good read, and really kind of just hit that right tone when it comes to these kind of indie comics and what they're playing with at the time. So that, my friends, is about it. What do I have down here? No, nothing. Yeah, that is it. Hopefully I'll have some stuff read for next week. Thanks to Rasa, I found some Jippy books at the library. Garage Band, Polis, Polisk. And then Land of the Suns is the other one that I got from Jippy, so I'm looking forward to reading those. I've started a little sheet here so I can make notes during our chats, because Rasa is picking up some incredible stuff from her library these days. So when she kind of highlights something that catches my interest, I've started taking notes. Unfortunately, the book that she got from Jippy, it was called One Story. My library didn't have a copy of it, so try out a couple of these other ones. So next weekend, look for us next weekend. We might be starting a little earlier. Again, it really depends on the guests that I'm kind of trying to hopefully wrangle into coming and hanging out for that Sunday. But we might be, instead of 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is my time here in Winnipeg, we might be like an hour earlier. than normal. So just kind of keep your eyes out. I'll make sure that I post something in the morning. So if you've subscribed, you should get some sort of notification for it. Right on, everybody. Thanks very much for hanging out. Daryl D, AFPC, Comic Book Aesthete. Who else was here? Donald Rex off the top. Thanks very much for joining me. And we will talk to you later. Night.